Hi guys, and welcome to Project X on EasyPy 3. In this project, we write a program that checks if people are on a guest list for our party. The idea for this project is based on a film by the same name, Project X. As always, remember to code along, do not leave it for later. Before we get started, let's look at what we'll be doing in more detail. If you haven't seen the film, the only thing you really need to know is that there are 3 friends that throw a birthday party and they only want 50 people maximum to turn up. But things get out of hand as the news of the party spreads. To ensure things do not get out of hands at our party, we will hire some security. And this security will check names against a guest list. And if that name's on the guest list, they can come in. If not, they will be added to the list as long as there's no more than 50 people already. The people on the guest list will be given priority, so places will be reserved for them. Let's get started. As always, start with a new file. The first thing to do is create a VIP list. So I'm just going to make a variable called VIP. And this is our guest list, which will consist of people that we definitely want at the party. So I'm just going to make a list here with 3 names for now. These are characters from the film. Next, I'm going to make a VIP total variable, and this is going to be the length of the VIP list. And we know the guests max is 50, so let's go ahead and create a variable with that. Okay, next up, we're going to create another variable called guests. Now this list, the guests list, will be the actual guests at the party. We're also going to have a total of the guests, and this is going to be the length of the guests, which is 0 at the moment. Finally, we're going to have another variable called VIP entered. We're going to start that off at 0 as well. Next up, let me show you another way to create a title. So let's start off by creating a variable called title, and we're going to assign security check to that. And next, we're going to write print, and then we're going to have a dash, and we're going to times it by the length of the title. Now, the asterisk, works with a string as a replicator. Next, let's print the title. And finally, we're just going to do the dash thing again. Let's run that and see what happens. Looks pretty neat, right? Next, we're going to write a while loop. And we're going to say that as long as the guest's total is less than the guest's max, carry on. And inside the body of the while loop, we're going to start off with an input. So we're going to have a variable called name, and we're going to assign an input to it. And we're going to say, what's your name? Since Python is case sensitive, I'm going to update the name, the enter. So what this will do is, regardless of how they enter the name, it will always start with a capital letter and the rest will be lowercase. Okay, first thing we're going to do is we're going to make sure the user actually enters a name and doesn't just leave it blank. So we're going to do if name is equal to, and we're just going to put quote marks. So basically they haven't really entered anything. And then we're also going to check that they've actually entered just alphabets and not numbers or special characters. So we're going to write or name dot is alpha is equal to false. What this does is it checks if characters entered are just alphabets. Now if I run that, and let's try to press enter, it says I need a real name. Now let me try adding 1, 2, 3. It says I need a real name. And what if I start giving it, I don't know, special characters? I need a real name. So it's stuck in that loop. Now let me give it a real name. Now it just asks what's your name because it's stuck in that loop. Now that we have a real name, we need to check if the name is in the VIP list. So we're going to do else if name in VIP. We're just going to go ahead and add that person into the guests list. So we're going to do guests.append, and the argument is name. But remember, to get out of the loop, the guest total needs to be greater than the guest max. So what we're going to do is update guest total by 1. A VIP has entered, so we're going to update VIP entered by 1 as well. Finally, we're going to print welcome to the party, and we're going to say go right in. Now let's run it again and see what happens. And let's give it a name from the VIP list. It says welcome to the party, go right in. Now let's give a name that's not on the list. It just asks you for the name again. So let's go back and define what happens if the name's not in the list. So we're going to write else if name not in VIP. Now here we've got 2 options. Remember, we said we're going to save spaces for our friends, for the VIPs. And as long as there's spaces for our friends, we will let people in. So what we're going to have to do is create a nested if statement. So we're going to write if guest total plus, and here we're going to use brackets just so it's easier to see what we're doing, VIP total minus VIP entered. So we're saying if the guest total plus the amount of VIPs left is less than guest max, then what we're going to do is we're going to let the people in. So we're going to use the append method again. And we're going to update the guest total by 1. And finally, we're going to print you're not on the list, but go in. And we're going to have an else statement here. And this else statement basically means that there's only spaces for VIP. So we're going to write sorry and the name of the person, space only for VIP guests. Now finally, outside the while loop, we're going to write a message that no more guests are allowed when it reaches the max. We're going to do this same way we did the title. So we're just going to make a variable and use the dashes with a len. Now to test out our project, we're going to change the guest max to 5 because I don't want to sit here entering names, right? So let's change it to 5 and run it again. See, it says not on the list, but go in Adam. Let's give Ellie's name. Not on the list, but go in Ellie. Now let's try to give a random name. Let's say Bob. Now it says, sorry Bob, space is only for VIP guests. Fantastic. That means it worked because we said that the maximum guests are 5 and we've given 3 VIPs and 2 people just went in. When a third person who's not on the list tried to go in, it said space is only for VIP guests. Now let's just make sure the VIPs can get in. So let's just give the name of them. And it prints out no more guests allowed. So the code works. Now, just to see who's in the party, we can always print out a party guest list at the end of it. So we're just going to go over here and we're going to write print party guests. Sort it alphabetically, so we're going to use the sort method. Now, if we just went ahead and printed the guest variable, it would print it out in a Python list format. But we just want the names on it. So what we're going to do is we're going to use for loop to print out all the names in the guest list. So we're going to write 4 names in guess, print names. Really simple and straightforward. And finally, we're just going to print out the total people at the parties. Now, if we save that and run it again and enter all the names, Brilliant. Now it says no more guests allowed, and underneath we got all the party guests in alphabetical order and the total being 5. Okay, there you have it, guys. You've got another working program. Now there's a lot more you can do with it. You can use a lot more string methods to check the names. Also, currently it doesn't check if the VIP name is being used twice, so there's always room for improvement. As always, if something didn't make sense to you, do not hesitate to ask.